Welcome back to Galaxy Mega Builds. In 1858, a leviathan of iron and steam was set loose on the oceans. It was the largest object humans had ever built, but it loomed over the 19th century as a shadowed anomaly, a project that exacted a price far beyond its staggering budget. The vessel was essentially a machine ripped from a future that did not yet exist. Because it arrived 50 years before the world was ready for it, the physical and economic infrastructure of the Victorian era pushed back with violent resistance. Completed at nearly 700 feet in length and equipped with 6 massive masts, the ship displaced over 32,000 tons fully loaded. It was more than twice as large as any ship in existence, an impossible leap in scale that the engineering of the day struggled to contain. Dragging the future into the present requires a pioneer to absorb the shock of the transition. For those who built the Great Eastern, that shock proved physically and financially ruinous. The architect of this leap was Isambard Kingdom Brunel. Having already revolutionized rail and steam travel, he proposed a vessel 6 times larger than anything afloat, a project that critics initially dismissed as madness. His logic was purely mathematical. To make the voyage from London to Australia profitable, the ship had to be large enough to carry its own coal for the entire journey, bypassing the need for expensive coaling stations along the way. This required a 692-foot iron island. Brunel fortified the design with a revolutionary double-layered iron hull, creating a cellular shield meant to protect the 4,000 passengers from the impact of a grounding or collision. This ambition turned a standard transport project into a hubristic collision with the engineering limits of the 1850s. The weight of that ambition was felt first at the construction site in Millwall. At 18,000 tons, the hull was too massive for a conventional slipway launch, which typically sent ships into the water stern first. Brunel was forced to attempt a sideways launch into the Thames. It became a months-long struggle as the massive iron structure refused to budge, sinking into the mud under its own immense weight. The friction was overwhelming. Steam winches failed to move the hull, and snapping chains struck dockyard workers, killing them instantly. Moving the ship mere inches a day drained the project's capital. By the time the vessel finally floated, the delays and astronomical launch costs had bankrupted the original investors. The stress of the unrelenting failure broke Brunel. He suffered a stroke on the deck of the ship he called his Great Babe, and died just 4 days after its first sea trials began. Before it ever reached the open sea, the ship had already claimed its creator and the men who tried to launch it. Once afloat, the Great Eastern was instantly commercially obsolete. Shifting global trade routes and a lack of passengers meant the ship rarely sailed with a full load, losing money on every crossing. This diagram reveals the ship's primary paradox. Its massive 82-foot beam, the very thing that allowed for such stability, prevented it from using the newly opened Suez Canal, forcing it into longer, more expensive routes around Africa. Disaster followed the ship to sea. During its maiden voyage, a sealed stopcock caused a massive heater explosion that destroyed a funnel and boiled 5 stokers alive in the engine room. From the depth of the harbors to the narrowness of the canals, the physical world of the 1860s rejected the vessel, rendering it a spectacular economic failure. The Great Eastern became a wandering pariah. Even with slashed fares, the ship struggled to attract travelers who were increasingly wary of its unlucky reputation. In 1862, the ship struck an uncharted rock off Long Island, tearing a hole in the outer hull. It survived only because Brunel's double hull design held the ocean at bay, preventing a total sinking. But survival brought new legends. Rumors spread that a missing riveter and his young apprentice had been accidentally sealed alive between the 2 iron layers during construction, their spirits supposedly haunting the ship's hollow walls. These stories resonated with the public that saw the Great Eastern not as a marvel, but as a vessel built on and sustained by human sacrifice. By 1864, the ship was a derelict. After bankrupting successive companies, it was put up for auction, facing a future where its only value was its weight in scrap metal. At this low point, a new technological challenge emerged: the need to lay a single continuous telegraph cable across the Atlantic to connect Europe and America. This chart shows why every previous attempt had failed. The sheer weight of thousands of miles of copper and iron wire far exceeded the cargo capacity of standard vessels, which were too small to hold the necessary length in a single run. Entrepreneur Cyrus W. Field realized the Great Eastern was the only solution. Its monstrous stability and massive internal volume made it the only platform on Earth capable of holding the entire cable. The ship was inadvertently engineered for a global technology that did not even exist when its keel was first laid. Engineers gutted the luxurious passenger quarters, replacing velvet and mahogany with thousands of tons of telegraph cable loaded directly into the ship's belly. Plowing into the Atlantic, the Great Eastern finally found its purpose, steadily spooling out the braided wire into the dark, churning depths of the ocean. The success of this expedition invented global telecommunications. For the first time, information crossed the Atlantic in seconds rather than weeks. Its utility finally exhausted, the ship was eventually sold for scrap. In 1889, it was hauled to the River Mersey, where a wrecking ball slowly dismantled the iron walls that had once defied the era. Being 50 years ahead of your time is a guarantee of personal and financial ruin, but for the pioneers of the Great Eastern, that ruin was the price of building the future. Thank you for watching Galaxy Mega Builds.